morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment or two to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where you can sit and have your spine and back of your neck be nice and long and tall and straight. Opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. You would kindly close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. And soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale, and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or a phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is beginner's mind. A quote from Zen Buddhist Sanryu Suzuki Roshi is, "In a beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few." So what's a beginner's mind? It's dropping our expectations and preconceived ideas about something and seeing things with an open mind, fresh eyes, just like a beginner. You're experiencing everything as if it's brand new, with curiosity and wonder. Legendary Yogi Guru B.K.S. Iyengar, decades into teaching and practicing, continued to tell his students that he had not yet perfected mountain pose. Iyengar knew that asserting mastery meant closing the door on growth. So for this morning's pranayama, I'm going to do a little bit of the Vishama-Vritti, which is the unequal breaths. And we're going to do all of them actually. We're going to start with the Sama-Vritti, which is the equal length breath. And then we'll go to the Vishama-Vritti with extending the inhale, and then another round with extending the exhale. So when we do this, because we've done it many times before, just kind of observe any senses that might be heightened, or the quality of the breath, or subtle physical or mental reactions to it. When we're doing the equal length, and the other ones when the inhales extended or when the exhales extended. Just observe this. I think the theme more today will be curiosity and wonder. Just kind of tune into that. Be mindful of what's going on there. So let's start with the Sama-Vritti, the equal length breath, and I'll count to 5 based on the book that I read that I've been talking about that suggests a 5.1 or 5.5, 5.5 part inhale and part exhale. So I'm going to count to 5. So on the inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well done. And that, those, the curiosity or the wonders, like, if you're waking up in the morning, perhaps you want to do that Vishama-Vritti, the uneven breath, extending your inhales. And then at nighttime, when you're trying to calm down and go to sleep, you can do that extended exhale. So just kind of wonder about, how can I use this breathing technique, this pranayama, in my life? So for our meditation today, you can continue with your vritti breathing, extending the inhale, exhale, making it even, whatever works for you. And we'll use an affirmation today. And the affirmation is, I approach my day with curiosity and wonder. I approach my day with curiosity and wonder. And I'll meet you on the mat. Alrighty, let us begin our asana practice. So we'll start with our seated sun breaths with chest openers included. So we're going to inhale, do a lot of inhaling today. Well, you do a lot of inhaling and exhaling every day, but mindful and breathing consciously. So that's what we'll be doing today. So having your tips of your fingers on the mat beside you, we're just slowly inhale, lifting our arms up overhead, bringing our palms together, and then exhaling, bringing our palms to heart center. We'll just do that slowly. And then opening our hands to each side, opening up our chest, and just bringing our hands back as far as what's comfortable. And then closing them again in front of our chest, our heart. And then inhale, lifting them slowly up overhead. And then exhale, just letting them slowly drift down to the mat. And if you like, I invite you to go at your own pace, maybe inhaling longer and then exhaling slower or shorter, or vice versa. Okay. Mix it up a little bit, or just try to have an even flow here. So you do you, I'll do me, and we'll meet at some point after a couple of these. And wherever you are, we'll just do one more, and we'll meet back in the basic seated pose. There we go. Alrighty, and we're going to do a few seated twists, a little different than what we typically do. So we bring your fingertips to the mat and just kind of keep your arms out like that at a diagonal. And then we're going to just kind of pivot our body over to the left and then keep the flow going, pivot over to the right till each hand is just hovering above the opposite knee. We'll just kind of twist and see if you can sync your breath to this movement. Maybe go really slow and have some inhale exhales for each twist, or just one big inhale for the twist and then one big exhale. Just encouraging you to be mindful of your breath. Let it work with your body. And then we'll come back to center, and we'll come up onto our hands and knees to tabletop. We'll have our hands and wrists right below our shoulders, fingers spread out wide, gripping the mat. And then gently pushing down in the mat to create space between our shoulders and our ears. Also, kind of putting equal amounts of weight into each hand. And our knees are right below our hips, navel's tucked to the spine, creating a nice flat back. And we'll turn our head to the right and then to the left. And again, nice, even flowing movement. Just kind of swing it back and forth like you're saying no, but in a very gentle way, keeping that pressure in your hands and equal weight distribution. Again, find that companion breath for this movement. And then back to center, and then we'll do some cat-cows. We're gonna round our back on the exhale, but it may be more comfortable for you on the inhale. And then inhale, for me, lifting my head and tailbone up, sending my gaze straight ahead, creating a little arch in my back. And then exhaling, rounding the back, sending my head and tailbone down. Then inhale, lifting my head and tailbone up. And I'll continue this for a few moments, just kind of synchronizing my breath to the movement. This one I really like going slow and having really big inhales and exhales, and just kind of feeling that vertebrae expand and contract. All along my spine. Oh, does feel good. And then we'll come back to tabletop. And we're going to keep our hands where they are and just kind of walk our knees back just a little bit, maybe about 6 inches, or maybe a little longer. And then we're going to do some knee, chest, chin. And what the other option of when we go from a plank down to the mat, we use knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. So this one we're going to do the knees, chest, chin. So we're kind of, our hands are a little bit out ahead of us. And we're also going to incorporate the child's pose. So we're going to first start with the child's pose. So sending your hips down to your ankles, keeping your hands where they are, should create a nice long stretch in your arm. And then we're going to come back up, keeping our hands where they are, and then keeping our elbows tucked to the side. We'll come down with our chest and then our chin. We're already on our knees. And then keeping our hands where they are, we're going to raise our chin and chest up into cobra, and then keep pushing up, come all the way back to child's pose. So it's a nice flow that we're going to do. So child's pose, we'll come up, keeping our elbows tucked to our sides. We're going to come down, land our chest and then our chin. And then we're going to lift our chin and chest up, pushing in our hands, come back up, and then down to child's pose. And then come back up. Come back down, bending our elbows toward the mat, keeping them tucked in, chest comes down, chin comes down, then lift the chin and chest, pushing down our hands to cobra, and then back to child's pose. We'll do one more of these. So coming back up, coming down to the mat, lifting our chin and chest up, pushing down, and coming into child's pose. And then back to tabletop. Bring our knees back so that they're right below our hips. Navel's tucked to the spine. We'll kickstand our left foot out and extend our right foot down to the bottom of the mat. We'll just do a modified plank with sweeping our hand up and over our head. So sweeping your right hand, or just double check our left hand, left wrist is right below the shoulder. And then we'll take our right hand, sweep it up to the sky, following our hand with our gaze, that's comfortable. And then extend it as far back as what's comfortable for you. It's really opening up your chest here. And then we'll sweep it back down. And then two more of these, so slowly bringing the right hand all the way up to the sky. And then sending it back. And then flowing it slowly back down to the mat. One last time, sweeping it up. And back. And then slowly sweeping it back down to the mat. And we'll come back to tabletop. And we'll do that on the other side. So kickstand your right foot out beyond the mat, sending your left foot down to the bottom of the mat. Your right wrist is right below your right shoulder. And nice, firmly planted on the mat. Then sweeping the left hand slowly up to the sky, following it with your eyes, and sweeping it back, and then lowering it back down to the mat. We'll do two more of these. So slowly focusing on your hand as it goes up. And then bringing it back down. And one last time, sweeping it up. And then back down. Alrighty. Then we'll come into a wide-legged child's pose. So our knees are going out to the edges of the mat, and our big toes are coming together. And we'll bring our hips down toward our ankle and extending our arms straight out. And then bringing our hands closer to us, sliding them closer to us. We do a thread the needle. So we're going to lift our right hand up and then bring it down toward the mat, across the mat, underneath your torso, and over to the other side, bringing our right shoulder down to the mat. And you can have your left hand either on the mat or say on the back of your hips or up in the air, whatever's comfortable for you. And then we'll push down in our left hand, come back up, And we'll do that on the other side. So we're going to sweep our left arm and hand up, bringing it back down to the mat, sweeping it across the mat, over to the other side, and then bringing our left shoulder down to the mat. Then pushing down in our right hand, we'll come back up. We'll bring our knees together, back to tabletop. Tucking our toes under, we'll walk our hands back and then come up on the balls of our feet to a nice squat. And then pushing down into our feet, come up to mountain pose. With mountain pose, we're going to point our toes to the long edge of the mat or short edge, whichever, the straight edge. So make sure that one toe is not going this way and the other toe is not going that way. I'm going pointing straight ahead. And then we'll lift our toes up off the mat, spreading our toes apart as much as we can, and then bringing our toes down onto the mat, lifting our heels up off the mat, and then bringing them back down. And just connecting ourselves to what's below us, to the earth, well, in this case, to the mat, to the floor, to the earth. But feeling that connection that a mountain pose does to really ground us, make us feel stable and secure. And then from there, we kind of work on the essentials of good posture, which is embodied in the mountain pose. So our legs are nice, straight and strong, soft bend in our knees, navel's tucked to the spine, really elongates our back of our neck and spine. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back, so expands our chest, opens up our chest. Our chin is slightly tucked toward our chest as opposed to it. This is my modus operandi. My chin kind of heads out ahead of me. So I have to kind of remember to kind of tuck it in. And then the crown of our head is flat and reaching up to the sky. Good posture. It's so healthy for you. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. And then exhale, bringing our hands all the way down, bending our knees as we go, support our lower back. Then inhaling, bringing our hands to our shins, creating a nice flat back, sending our gaze down. Then sending the crown of our head down toward the mat. I'll just let gravity take over here for a moment. Make sure you breathe in. Feel the difference between a nice deep breath and maybe a shallow breath in this pose. Anytime you want, you can use the breathing technique, the pranayama, the ujjayi, which is that ocean sound breath, soundtrack to your life. Not to your life, to your yoga practice. And then sweep our hands all the way up overhead and come up onto our tippy toes. And then we'll slowly lower our hands as we slowly, with control, lower our heels back down to the mat. We'll do that a couple times. Coming up onto our tippy toes. Hands come up, overhead. And then slowly, with control, coming back down. Once our hands come down, our heels finally hit the mat. And one more time, slowly coming up. And then slowly coming back down. I hear this ticking sound going on over here. I'm not sure what it's doing. Why it's ticking. Alrighty. So bring your hands all the way back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, lifting our hands to our shins, flattening out our back, sending our gaze down. And then sending the crown of the head down toward the mat. Just let our hands hang here and then sweep them up overhead. We'll do a few supported side stretches. So hands up overhead. We'll bring the right hand to the right thigh and slide it down toward the right knee. Then a nice even flow, we'll bring it back up and lower the left hand down to the left thigh and slide it down toward the left knee. And then come back up. Lowering the right hand down to the thigh, sliding it down toward the knee. Scooping back up. Overhead, and one last time, the left hand coming down. Sending that down toward the knee. And then coming back up. And then sending both hands back down to the mat, bending our knees as we go. Inhale, half forward fold, flat back, gaze down. And then sending the crown of our head down. And then a nice sweep of our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together, palms come to heart center. And I'm going to turn for this. We're going to do some leg lifts. So with your feet, not necessarily right below your hips, but so just kind of feeling where they would be comfortable and stable. We're going to lift the right leg. So we're going to really plant that left foot into the mat. Okay, and ready, lift the right leg up so that it's like you're sitting in a chair. Feel stable here. And then we're going to send that leg out behind us, coming back, landing on the mat, and you can land it at an angle. Doesn't have to be on your toes, so your ball of your foot and your heel are on the mat. And then we'll bring it back. We'll do that on the other side. Again, really plant that right foot down, find that stability in that right foot, and lift your left leg up. And try not to tip over to the side when you're lifting it up. Try to maintain your mountain pose. And then we're going to send that left leg back, again, pivoting it, landing it so that ball and heel are both on the mat. You're in the lunge in the front. We'll bring that back. We'll do that one more time on each side. Lift the right leg up. Send it back. Far back as you can comfortably, landing ball and heel on the mat. And then come back. And one last time on the left side, lifting the left leg up. Sending it back. Landing it, ball and heel on the mat. Lunge in the front. And bring that back. And then we'll bring our hands back down to the mat. Bending our knees as we go. Inhale, lifting, bringing our hands to our shins. Flat back, gaze down for half forward fold. And then our head comes down toward the mat. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then palms come to the back of your hips. With the fingertips pointing down. We relax our shoulders. Tuck our chin toward our chest. And just relax our shoulders, rolling them back for a supported back bend. We'll just go as far back as what's good to maintain that nice even flow of breath. Some days it might be a little further back, some days not so much. Approach each day with curiosity and wonder. And then back up. Well done, everyone. Alrighty, so we're going to do that leg lift again. So in mountain pose, we bring our hands to heart center and lift our right leg up and extend it as far back as it's comfortable. And we're going to come into warrior two. So kind of wiggle your feet to the point where you come into your favorite warrior two stance. You know, some elements should be that your knees over your ankle and you're able to see your big toe, your other foot. The outer edge is nice and snug in the mat. Arms are out at shoulder height, chest facing the long edge of your mat. And then gently turning your head, looking at your left fingertips. Maybe you really want to kind of push down in your feet today to really get that grounded, secure feeling. And then we'll drop our right hand down, lifting our left hand up to the sky for peaceful warrior. And then we'll bring our left arm down to our left thigh, sending our right hand up to the sky. And I really would like you to try to bring that left hand all the way down to the mat. So you're in the lunge position and your right hand's all the way up to the sky. And then bring the right hand down to the mat. Leave it on your back foot, coming into runner's lunge. We're going to bring the right knee down to the mat, top of the right foot down to the mat. And then we'll ride our left leg. So we're going to kind of keep that rib chest connection with our left thigh as we straighten out our left leg. So we'll just kind of ride it down, bringing our head toward our knee. And then bringing it back up to that low lunge position. We'll do that a couple more times. So keeping that connection of your chest and rib to the left leg, straightening our left leg out, sending our gaze to our left knee, and then back up again. And then one more time. Straightening out that left leg, riding it down, sending our gaze to our knee. And then bringing ourselves back up again. Tucking our back toes under, coming into runner's lunge. Pivot that back foot down so that both the ball and the heel of the foot is on the mat. And then we're going to straighten out, excuse me, our left leg and send our gaze to the knee. So we're in pyramid pose. And then we're going to bring the left hand to the inner part of our right hand coat. So the hands are side by side to the right of our foot. And we're going to send our right hand up to the sky for triangle pose. So it's a kind of a bottom up triangle pose. And then bring the right hand back down. Come back to runner's lunge. And then we're going to push down in our left foot and come back up to warrior two. So our feet should pretty much stay in the same spots that they've been. And then in warrior two, we're going to send our gaze to our left fingertips, lowering our right hand, lifting our left fingertips up to the sky for peaceful warrior. And then bringing our left arm, this time we're going to keep it on our left thigh, sending our right hand up to the sky. And then bringing our right hand down to the mat, pivoting into runner's lunge. Planting our right hand on the mat, we'll sweep our left hand up to the sky. And then bringing the left hand back down to the mat. We're going to bring our back foot up to meet our front foot. So we're going to push down in our front foot. Coming into forward fold. And then sweep our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. Well done. We'll do that on the other side. So again, just come into mountain pose. Hands at heart center. Really kind of get your footing down. So you're feeling nice and stable and secure in mountain pose. And then we're going to lift our left leg up and send it out behind us as far as you can, bringing the ball and the heel down. Then we come into warrior two. So our chest is facing the long edge of the mat. The front knee is over the front ankle, just so you can see your big toe. Back foot, the edge of your back foot is nice and snug in the mat. Arms come up at shoulder height. And then gently turn your gaze to your right fingertips. And just really feel the strength of this pose. Maybe take your feet and kind of push them down to your mat. And then slowly lifting your right fingertips up to the sky, dropping the left hand back to the back thigh. Peaceful warrior. And then bringing your right forearm. What's this piece of body called? Forearm to your right thigh. Lifting your left hand up to the sky. And we're going to bring that right hand all the way down to the mat so that we are in a lunge pose. Right hand on the mat, left hand to the sky. And then bring the left hand all the way down to the mat. Pivot into runner's lunge. And bring the left knee down to the mat, the top of the left foot down to the mat. And we'll go on a ride with our right leg. So keeping our ribs and chest We're going to attach to the right thigh. We're going to straighten out the right leg, keeping the right foot on the mat as well. You do you. If it feels more comfortable to flex your foot off the mat, that's fine too. But we're trying to keep connected and ride our leg down, sending our gaze to our knee, and then back up. We'll just gonna adjust here for a moment, and then we'll ride that back down. And then back up again. And one last time, riding your leg down, sending your gaze to your knee. And then back up again. And then bring yourself on to your back foot, coming into runner's lunge. You're gonna bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot. So both hands are side by side. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So we're bringing our pyramid pose first. So the back foot, the ball, and the heel of the foot are on the mat. And then we'll straighten out our front leg so that we're looking at our kneecap in pyramid pose. And then we could bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot. And then we'll sweep our left hand all the way up and come into triangle pose. And then bring the left hand back down to the mat. Come back to runner's lunge. And then we're going to push down our right foot, coming back into warrior two. So the knee over the front ankle. Back foot nice and snug in the mat. Chest is facing the long edge. Arms are at shoulder height. And we'll send our gaze to our right hand, and then lift our right hand up to the sky for peaceful warrior. And then bringing the right forearm down to the right thigh, sending our left hand all the way up to the sky. And then sending our left hand all the way down to the mat, pivoting into runner's lunge. And then pushing down our right foot, we're going to bring our left foot together, coming into forward fold. And then sweeping our hands all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. I forgot the twist, but that's okay. Alrighty, so send our toes out to the sides of the mat. So our pinky toes are on the edge. Heels are tucked in. Hands come to our heart center, Anjali Mudra. And we'll just lower our hips down to the mat, coming into wide-legged squat. And our hands, we can send them down closer to the mat, creating a little bit more stretch. And then we'll bring our sit bones onto the mat. And we're going to roll down. So you pick. You can have your knees bent or knees straight, or tuck your hands underneath your bent knees and roll back. I think I'm going to have my knees bent today. And just slowly, with control, roll back. So each vertebrae touches the mat on the way down. And then bring our knees to our chest, give them a nice hug. Perhaps rock back and forth, give your lower back a nice massage. Perhaps draw circles with your toes, nice big circles. Again, lower back massage, feels great. And then we're gonna take, we have our knees to our chest. We're gonna take our hands and bring them overhead and really stretch our hands to the top of the mat or above your head. And then with real consciousness, mindfulness, we're gonna keep our our navel tucked to our spine, toward our spine, so that your lower back is as close to the mat as possible. And we send our feet out. And this will be different for everyone. You send your feet out, you can send them out above. The idea is you're going to be hovering above the mat, but that distance between the mat and your feet will be very personal to each of you. So find that spot where your lower back is still connected to the mat. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to bring my hands forward to the mat, or toward the mat, maybe not landing so much, and bring my knees back. And then I'm going to send my hands back and my legs forward. So this is real core, super duper core work here. And again, it's going to be different for each person. The stronger your core gets, the lower you're going to be able to bring your feet toward the mat. And just keep a nice flow going here. This is a great sequence to really employ your breathing. So inhaling, exhaling, contracting, bringing your knees to get up, inhaling, expanding your legs down and your arms up, exhaling, contraction, inhaling, expansion. And we'll do a few more of these. Keeping that navel tucked to the spine, really support your lower back. We'll do maybe, let's see, 5, and then 4, and then 3, and 2, and the last one. Bring your knees back to your chest, give them a nice hug. Yay! And then bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Bring your arms along the side, palms facing down on the mat. We'll do a few windshield wipers. So we're just going to drop our knees to the right and then slowly flow them over to the left side of the mat, just like a windshield wiper would do, just to find that pace that was good for you. Kind of slowly move back and forth and synchronize it with your breath. Might be one big inhale or a quick inhale, exhale. And then we'll bring our feet back to center. We'll do a few bridge poses. So bringing your heels as close to your hips as you can, it's comfortable. Your legs are about hip width apart. Knees will stay parallel to one another. Palms are on the mat, palms down, supporting you. And we'll kind of do our cat-cow routine and then do a lift into bridge pose. So we're going to round our belly, so we're kind of creating a bowl, and then sending our belly forward, so we're creating an arch behind our back. So that's a cow, and then back to rounding our belly, bringing our lower back to the mat for cat rather, and then pushing down in both feet, lifting our hips up to the sky, going up as what's comfortable for you. You can feel that in your thighs. And then slowly lowering one vertebrae at a time. Slowly back down to the mat till you feel that connection with the earth. We'll do that 2 more times. So creating that scoop, belly scoop, bowl of belly with a cat pose, and then arching our lower back, and then doing the scoop again, and then with that scoop, pushing down into our feet, lifting our hips up toward the sky, keeping our knees parallel with one another. Gaze is straight up, and then slowly lowering back down, one vertebrae at a time. And one last time. Scoop with a cat, arch with a cow, scoop with a cat, push down our feet, lift up. Maybe try to get a little bit higher. Your shoulders might be coming a little bit closer, shoulder blades touching one another or reaching toward one another. And then slowly lowering back down. Alrighty, and then we'll send our feet down to the bottom of the mat, to each corner, preparing for Shavasana. Just let our feet relax. Let our whole body relax. Take some deep inhales. Maybe send the exhales out through your mouth to really release and relax into the mat. Today I have an ancient Zen story for you. A long time ago, there was a wise Zen master. People from far and near would seek his counsel and ask for his wisdom. Many would come and ask him to teach them and enlighten them in the way of Zen. One day, a man came to visit the master and said, "I have come today to ask you to teach me about Zen." The master begins to discuss several topics of Buddhism, but the student interrupts the master in an attempt to impress him and says, "Oh, I already know that." The master then invites the student to have some tea. When the tea was served, the master poured his visitor a cup of tea. He poured, and the tea rose to the rim and began to spill over the table and onto the robes of the man. Finally, the visitor shouted, "Stop! You are spilling the tea all over me. Can't you see that the cup is full?" The master stopped pouring and smiled at his guest. "You are like this teacup, so full that nothing more can be added. Return to me when the cup is empty. Come back to me with an empty mind, ready for filling.